So this month we're talking about the changes that we can make in our lives to make our lives that little bit better. And some of these changes might be very big, consequential changes, and others might be a little bit simpler, smaller changes. Today we're talking to Loly, who's made a very profound, big change in her life and pivoting her career at a slightly older age. And Loly is going to tell us all about that.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me here. So I'm Loly and I am 57. And it was probably around 7 years ago that I decided to start doing a little bit of modeling, acting, and that led to the content creating, the influencing. Before, when I was very young and I'd be like in a nightclub or something, I would have like model agents saying you must model, but I really did not like that kind of community when I was much younger. As I got older, I felt like I had a story to share, one of being a disabled woman, a visually impaired woman, a woman who'd allowed her hair to go silver naturally, and just felt like the representation of silver-haired, disabled, older models was quite low. And it just came at a really good time for me. I had a little thing in Norfolk happen where I'm from, where I was voted something like most inspirational woman over 50. It was like an online thing. And I think pretty much my kids and all their friends were voting for me as well. But it's been interesting over the last 7 years, especially with my content creating and influencing. I do have a very young demographic. And I think that is because they want to see more maybe women who are like getting past some of the obstacles in their lives and actually owning them rather than seeing them as something that holds them back.
Wow, that's incredible. Congratulations for being the most inspirational woman
Thank
over
you.
50 in Norfolk. Wow.
Yeah. And then that led to like doing small modeling in my hometown in Norwich. And then that led to something bigger. And then in a very short time, I was in TV commercials. And this was probably, I can't even remember when lockdown was, but it came at a time when I was still very busy. And it was amazing that they wanted the representation of women to go across the board. So sometimes you felt a little bit like the token disabled older silver-haired woman on set, but I'll take it because it just meant that we were being in the room. We can have those conversations. So some of my first jobs were I worked with Sweaty Betty.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a really beautiful shoot that was done, like a festive campaign. And then I was in a TV commercial in Germany, which then has been shown all over the world, which was for the T-Rock. And that was showing a little girl who was visually impaired with her eye patch. And I remember you made me a silk eye patch, didn't you, a couple of years ago? And it follows the journey of the little girl growing up, and nothing stopped her in her life. And then it's me as the grown-up little girl driving the car with my eye patch. And so that was one of the biggest ones that I did. And then I had various TV commercials after that. And the silver hair, of course, really helped. And I do really love being on set, and I love working with cameras. So then I was poorly with my hysterectomy because I was quite poorly then. And I thought, am I really going to be able to get onto set? And I started doing content creating. And I think that's how we met.
Yeah.
Was through that, because I fell in love with your turban, especially as that was a time with the hysterectomy brought on surgical menopause. So my hair was really struggling and I needed something to help me. And I had your little orange turban because my hair was so thin then from being poorly. And I have this thing where I really do like the security of fabrics, and having something on my head and having that silk little bonnet was like, it's very comforting as well. And it improved my hair so much. And then I had the beautiful big turban with the wraps, and my daughter Ruby stole that immediately from me.
She's awesome too.
But yeah, but like having those little things for comfort and self-care that if you just do consistently really helps to build your own feeling of self-love and your self-esteem. And then that goes on to the rest of your confidence, really.
That's a really lovely story and very inspirational. I'm just wondering, from being in nightclubs at 17, 18, 19, 20 to
14, 15.
You do not encourage underage drinking, but
I never drank. Do you know why I was there? I was there for the dancing. Even though I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at just 18 months old, I spent most of my childhood in hospital. So I had the eye disease. My whole body was in splints all the time. I was in hospital all the time, but I loved to dance. Dancing was my everything. So if I got the chance, I would go with my older brothers and we would drive to London to nightclubs and I would dance. And I wouldn't be able to go to school for about 2 days after because my body was in such pain. But dancing was my passion and I didn't drink alcohol or anything. It was just the joy of dancing, and still
Movement.
dancing for me first thing in the morning is dancing.
Wow.
Every time is to dance.
And is the arthritis managed now? Is it?
So 10 years ago, it's very interesting, really. Probably 10 years ago, it was when my dad passed away, and I've been looking after him, and my medication at the time was heavy. I was on lots of immune suppressant
Wow.
medicines and in the hospital all the time, and that had been my life basically. And I kind of decided that if I was going to live another 50 years, I didn't want my tummy and my body to be having that much medication all the time. So I started to support my body naturally and using Reiki and meditation and movement and changes in my food, and my self-care. My self-care was everything. It was like essential. And so now I manage everything. I probably feel better now than I ever have in my whole life. So
that's amazing.
Through consistent self-care.
Wow. We'll talk more about the food because I think it's so important, and I certainly don't look after myself as much as I ought to. So we'll talk about that in a sec. But between the dance floor and then the modeling, what was there in the middle? What do you do in the middle? And
that's like 40 years, isn't it?
I know. Pick a decade.
So I always loved working, and I was always doing various jobs. I always loved looking after people. My mum and dad had pubs, so I grew up as a teenager working behind the bar, and that was always in me to host, to look after people, to put on parties, put on gatherings. But if I worked for anybody else, I would love it. I'd go crazy. I managed one of the Hobbs shops in Cambridge for a while. But every time I would intensely give my everything to someone else, I would get ill. I'd have a flare up because my body literally could not go at that kind of thing, and I'd have to have surgeries, etc. So working for someone else didn't kind of work out. But then I decided because my school had been missed a lot through illness when I was younger. So I missed a lot of school. So I was intelligent, but there's things I didn't know, like my times table. I still don't know my times table or
have calculators.
Things. Yeah, exactly. And I decided to go to college, and I decided so I went to college in Cambridge where I lived, and I studied women's studies and communication studies. And my first choice was to study theatre studies, locally in London, but I met a man and I fell in love, and he's still my husband, and I had to choose, did I want to move to London and do a whole new theatre studies and do this wild life, or was I going to stay in Cambridge and choose a couple of subjects which were important to me? And women's studies was really important to me, and communication studies. And I feel like that, which I did when I was 25, 27, whilst I was having my daughters as well, kind of is the basis maybe for how I am now, because I always wanted to be like an agony aunt. I love helping people. I'm crazy for representation of women, everything. So so that was what I was doing in my 20s. Then I was having kids, and then I decided to also move to Norfolk with my family, and that's when I opened my home as a wedding venue.
Oh wow.
So then I worked really hard for 10 years, where our venue was voted the top 100 in Condé Nast wedding venues, then in country, and then that went to that was 5 years on the road. It was it's literally just our house in a dell where we live with our kids, and my kids work for me and their friends work for me. Always this lovely multi-generation just all working together to create beautiful weddings for people and little love stories and stuff. So now I'm trying to taper back on the weddings, and I do more women's.
Must be exhausting.
Yeah, but I love it. But I'm drained and stuff, but I do love it. But I do lots of women gatherings. I love at the full moon gathering women together and sharing stories around a set, giving them a space to share their story. And now with my content creating, it's really joining together how how much of an advocate for self-care and women's confidence. And we all, if we've got a brand of anything, we're all creating content. And so it's giving women that confidence to step in front of the camera, step in front of their light, and actually film beautiful stuff that represents them.
Yeah. You mentioned how young women are being inspired by you. Have you had conversations with older women who are either really inspired or a little bit judgy?
I've never had a bad comment ever.
Amazing.
Never. Like,
Wow.
even like some of my reels that have gone like mega viral
Yeah.
and crazy, it's all just been good. I don't know what it is, but just the conversations that I have. So I've been really lucky that I haven't had any bad
Yeah.
comments, and I don't know why, probably luck or whatever, but I don't have any trolling. Touch wood, won't
That's great.
happen.
Mm.
And I love, like, I'll often, like, in the morning to my husband, like, I'll be reading my DMs and I'll be like getting all welled up, and it'll be something from like a woman saying, I'm also visually impaired, or I've had a hysterectomy, or my hair's gone silver and I've been feeling so rubbish about myself. I won't even put a photo of myself on my Instagram. And I've seen yours and you've just like really inspired me to do something or to see myself as beautiful and all those kind of things. So those messages from older women are amazing. And younger people are just like super, super respectful and polite, and boys and girls, like saying, oh, I've loved finding you because I've given you to my mum, and because she was feeling a bit low, or I hope that, Auntie, I hope I look as like you when you're older, when I'm older, and that kind of thing. So
That's so sweet.
yeah, it is really lovely.
It's really nice.
It is really nice. And I think it's really important for generations to all be speaking to each other more, rather than just being in our little echo chambers, maybe. So yeah, I just love all of that. And I've always loved social media. Like, everyone slags it off, but I think from the beginning, to me, it's like we don't in our communities live in the same village. We don't live across. And so I've always treated it like my garden fence. And you're on the other side of my garden fence, and we can reach out to each other. And I might not talk to you every day, but I'll know what you're going through. And you're just, to me, it's that way for women, especially because women as a whole have been isolated in their homes more and more with the way that we live our lives now, and in the way our communities are set up. So if there's a way for women to connect and talk to each other over that garden fence and share their stories and just, to help each other, then that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel after COVID and thank you. I feel after COVID and with a lot more women going freelance, there are lots of positives to that, but you do end up at home a lot more than you might have otherwise. So that community of women, of just society, men, women, everybody, it's not going to happen without your deliberate attempt to create it. And you want it to be in person, you want it to be virtual, I think, to connect with everyone around you and to reach beyond just your fence, because you can see so much further afield.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, like during lockdown and everyone going freelance, maybe we're not looking after ourselves as much as well, like what we're wearing to work in. We're not getting out of pajamas. We're not, like, I don't wear much makeup anyway, but just that kind of thing of looking after yourself, a little bit of self-care at home, just makes you feel a lot better. And especially if you are, even though you're not people facing in real life, you're people facing on a camera when you're creating your own content. So just putting in that little thing to help yourself and make yourself feel a bit better. Yeah, it's just like, it's so worth it.
Makes a difference. What advice would you have for someone who's thinking of making a profound change, starting something completely crazy or wild?
I think probably start off small with little things, because you can come up with some of these really big ideas and it can be overwhelming. There's lots of things all at once. So it could even be that you got your plan and just do very well at one thing for like a month until that's almost like a muscle memory, and then move on to other, like adding other things to it. And don't beat yourself up. Like, I have a very 80-20 belief in everything in life anyway. Like you said that you don't look after yourself very well with eating and stuff like that. But if you beat yourself up about it, then it gets worse. But if you go, actually, today I did do that, and I did drink water, and I did like think of all of the good things that you've done.
Yeah.
But I think it's consistency. You have to do a little something of it every single day. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter whether you give it half an hour, or whatever. And I also think don't let it completely take over your time.
Yeah.
Treat it as a job from the very beginning. So think, what is my time worth? What am I worth? Because I think as women, we do a lot of work for free.
Yeah.
And we end up, maybe if it's artistic or if it's nurturing people, it's seen as like,
It's a traditional role.
Traditional role that you don't get paid for. So you almost have to move yourself out of that. So kind of think about your time frames of like how much time you're going to give that. And it gives you really good way of actually sticking to that, because you'll commit to that, and it's good discipline for you to go, right, I'm going to make some content. I'm only going to spend half an hour on it this morning. I'm terrible for it because I will like spend ages, but I do it in the bath, and my bath becomes my office, and so I'll edit in the bath. So I'll do my self-care, and I'll do that, and my brain will work good that way. But like I think doing a little bit every day and being consistent and just not beating yourself up so much.
I think that's right. I think a lot of self-forgiveness and care is important. Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of self-love and forgiveness is incredibly important. And just trying.
Yeah. Just giving it a go.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm wondering if I forgot something, because there was something, as you were saying, you spoke about family.
My hair literally wants to be in that the microphone.
You spoke about family, you spoke about going back into education at an older age, and this is pretty cool, really cool stuff that you've done. And out of curiosity, I mean, this is not off camera, but just before you went into modeling, decided I'm going to do it. What was going on?
What was in your life? My life at that point. I have to think. So we would have moved to Norfolk, and I was running the wedding venue. So I think that was showing people, that was a big thing as well, to just go, I'm going to do this. And a lot of people that work in the wedding industry are much younger. They've got the energy, they've got the polished place. And I just had what I did. And before that, I had a vintage shop in Norwich.
Cute.
Which was super cute, and it had like a real nice mix of stuff. I actually used to sell little silk bloomers in there.
Cute.
Yeah. And I think I'd gotten over that. And then people were like, I wish I could get married in something that looks like this. I wish I could stay somewhere that looks like this. And so that was how, like, moving out of that thing of having to be in a shop every day. And so I was doing that. And then I think it just went from there. But I think maybe like when I got to the age when I did start, I'm just very comfortable in front of a camera or in front of people. But I suppose when it came to like even doing the wedding, especially that time when you're perimenopause, there is a time when women suddenly get very anxious and they get quite worried about going out. It's because basically your hormones are going crazy. You know, it's almost like you're a teenager again with what your hormones are doing. So I do remember a time when I'd be like, oh my God, there's a whole wedding out there and I've got to go and face it. So you do have to put on that persona. You do have to put on your big girl knickers, and you have to do it.
Yeah.
And I think definitely having all my moments of like self-care has always been big for me. And I've also always loved giving advice to other women.
Nice.
So I think the way that my modeling started was definitely, it was more that models were being asked more stuff about themselves. So definitely in those first things that I was modeling was very much like it was still Loly playing Loly in a commercial almost.
Oh, wow.
So that would happen quite a little bit, you know, especially with the Sweaty Betty and things like that. And then after that, it just went crazy and it took off. And
that's
really busy. Yeah.
One thing that I hadn't realized would happen, but did happen, was that a lot of our hair ups are used by women going through the menopause. And I hadn't quite realized that would be the case, because when I created them, I thought, okay, curly hair, textured hair, that would be the main thing that this product would be useful for. And of course, I didn't know any better, but it was hugely useful for a lot of women whose hair texture is changing a lot because
Yeah.
of menopause.
Yeah, for sure. Like they always recommend like silk pillowcases and things like that anyway when your hair is maybe more delicate. And my hair was already quite fine, but definitely being ill before my hysterectomy, that was really draining me of nutrients, and my hair was really struggling and it was a lot finer. And I think also for me, because I do a lot of self-care, and I think a lot of midlife women are putting on the thicker creams onto their faces. So the last thing you want is whatever you've slapped on your skin in those thick night creams, etc., then your hair touching it, especially when you've got silver hair, because it will stain it quite easily. So for me, one of the reasons why I would often wear a bonnet or I would put it up in a silk wrap was to keep the hair off the face as well, so that it wasn't touching it. And I think definitely for me, when I first started doing it, I would send you pictures. Actually,
I
because
remember.
I would be like in a cafe waiting to go on a film shoot, like a
I remember that.
and I would always like have my hair ready up in the bonnet so that the last second that I go in, it wouldn't like be flat or going all fuzzy and stuff. So yeah,
I do that if I'm going on the train and I have my hair done really nicely, or if it's wet, I will just cover it because I don't want it to go very fluffy while it's wet and drying, because I'm really neglectful of my hair like that. But that's why I love the product, because I can be neglectful in every other aspect of it, and then do this one little thing that is it gives it a lot of love, and it's fine.
Yeah, because I've got other pretty bandanas and stuff, but if they're not made of silk, you get my static in my hair is mental.
Yeah.
Do you know how to check if something's real silk?
No.
So apparently it says it's a wedding ring, but I don't know if it has to be a wedding ring. But basically to check if something's real silk is that you put the silk through the ring, and if you can hear it, like, it's not silk.
Oh, wow.
But if you can't hear it, then it's real silk.
Let's try it.
Obviously, this was a TikTok or an Instagram I saw, and I tried it at home. But basically, to see if it's real silk, so say like especially for me, I buy a lot of like scarves and things in charity shops, and they won't have a label.
No, they won't.
So to tell whether it's real silk or not is that they say a wedding ring.
Because it's magic.
I don't know whether it's magic. It's like, but you put it through, and if it goes through gently and you can't, and it's silent, and you don't get that snagging, see there's no snagging, and it's real silk.
Well, there you go. Phew.
Yeah.
That would have been quite a surprise.
Yeah, just send me to your like manufacturers, and I'll go around everywhere with the silk going.
I see your certificate.
Look, I can hold it there. Let's see. There you go.
Very nice.
Is your stitching silk thread as well on it?
No, actually, really good point. No, it isn't. We have not used silk thread on it
because it breaks too easily.
Yeah. Also, quite difficult to source. Really difficult to source, and breaks too easily, and you can't get it in the softness that you need to give elasticity. There are quite a lot of there's a lot to think about when you're thinking about thread.
Yeah, for sure. Like any thread is hard to sew with anyway, I find.
So here, you know what you see here?
Yeah.
On every product that we sew our maker's name on it until the very end, and then we rip it out and we take it off.
It's cute.
It's cute, but it's also for quality control.
Yeah.
Because then if there is an issue with the product, you know,
you can find out. So that comes out with like a little pin or something.
Usually it's.
Where's your silk from?
So, good question. We design and print it in China. So, we design it here, then we print and dye it in China, then we bring it over and we make and trim in London, in East London.
So they get cut, everything. So it comes to you in the bolts, and then you do it all here.
Exactly.
Amazing. How many people are in your little team here then?
Business-wise, it's a very small team. There's 3 of us. 3 full-time staff and freelancers like Marek behind the camera here. That's how we work. It's a tiny team, and then in the factory, it's a factory that we have a partnership with, but they have tons of people working there. It's just surprising. I took a friend there yesterday, and he was just under the arches somewhere in East London, and he was just like, "This is incredible! I did not realize there's just so much there."
Amazing.
Yeah, it is cool. It's really nice to be able to just go and see the people who are making your clothes and get a sense of them.
Have you done any videos there yet?
We've done very few, not loads.
Yeah, because I love those meet your maker kind of things. It's really nice, especially like taking it from the person to the label that's on there kind of thing. It's nice. It's a nice backstory to it.
It is. Awesome. Wonderful.
Great.